I presume that as the early performance practice has seeped into the whole musical world, that you are meeting more orchestral musicians, perhaps younger ones, who have done a little of both or are familiar with the techniques?
Yeah. I mean, at that noble institution, Juilliard, across the street, they have an early music department now.
Isn't that exciting?
30 years ago, I think that would have been heresy, to put it mildly. Every orchestra, a lot of these musicians that will have studied, say, at Indiana or somewhere like that, where they have early music departments. Say Juilliard has one, San Francisco Conservatory has one, Harvard has one. Just the way, there's no longer this sort of competition between modern orchestras and period instrument orchestras. They sort of blend together. More so, I may say, in the UK than anywhere now. So that, for example, the Scottish Chamber Orchestra, if I'm conducting Mozart there, they will use 18th century horns and 18th century trumpets as a matter of course, not their modern ones. Many of them will use period bows, and they all have them. And Charles McCarris and people insist on it. And so you can go and I was doing a Handel oratorio with the City of Birmingham Orchestra, which is Simon Rattle's orchestra, and half of them were using period bows, just as a matter of course. So that will happen here too.
As time goes by.
As time goes by. But it's a modern orchestra that's used to playing music that was where the ink isn't dry. But on the other hand, they're happy to play 17th century music with 17th century equipment. And that's great. They have hand-tuned timpani and all that sort of stuff.
So what are the trends then that are emerging in period, in authentic performance movement now? I guess that's one of them, is that orchestras are becoming more versatile. What else is happening as the movements grow?
Two things, both of which I think are entirely healthy, I hope. One is that modern orchestras are increasingly playing early repertoire. There used to be a thing about 10 years ago where people would say, oh, we can't play music before Mozart, we'll leave that to the period orchestra. Everybody can play anything, it's fine. And the other thing, which is great fun, is when period orchestras play music that's a bit later. Bruckner and stuff. Simon Rattle's done bits Wagner on period instruments, which has more to do with Simon Rattle, I think, being wonderful, than necessarily all the antique hose pipes that they got out to actually use it. But I think it's good because one of the things that period instrument things does is you have to have an inquiring mind to do it. Because people then have an interest in saying, let's take Wagner as an example. One of the things that's always written about Wagner is that he took his music faster than anybody else. So, has anybody actually gone back to look at his own music? He doesn't put metronome marks on things, but has anyone gone back, for example, to look at the timings from Bayreuth, from Wagner conducting his music, to compare how James Levine does it across the street? And a very interesting one in the Budapest Opera is that Mahler edited all the parts that were used for every opera that he conducted there between about 1895 and 1900, including all his bowings, his fingerings, the slides that he put in for the violins. Those would be fantastic parts to play a Mozart opera from once. See how Mahler did it. A large opera house doesn't have time for that sort of thing. Period guys do. Musicologists do.